Please read the disclaimer. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. We're going to talk about everything you need to know about XRP and the crypto market going into this week. We'll talk about the Clarity Act, the situation in Iran, a huge amount, trillions of dollars that are sitting on the sidelines and waiting to invest, potential $100 for oil. There's a lot to get into. All I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out the good vibes. Smishity smash that like button. I put back the original the hat that I had before. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it will help the prices of the crypto market, right? It couldn't hurt. Maybe it will. I don't know. Currently, XRP is sitting at $1.35, almost 36 cents, up 0.23% on the day. XRP continues to bounce between the support and resistance zone that we have here. Not a lot of action happening. I think mainly it's also Bitcoin, also Ethereum, but you can see that all of the movements that we experienced coming into Wednesday, remember Wednesday, we had that good ISM print, and then the crypto market had that nice Wednesday pump. Well, Ethereum is now at a lower level. Sorry, Bitcoin is now at a lower level. Ethereum now is at a lower level. XRP is basically the same level it was back on Wednesday. So all that movement that happened there on Wednesday has been eaten up. And you can see similar Tuesday on the 24th of February, we had a similar run up. Remember, that was the day that we had the news from some said it was Jane Street. I said it was Circle's earnings, right? And then we had a sell-off. Same thing here. We had some good news pop up and then sell off. This tells me that there's not enough money right now in the markets. There's not enough buying pressure. And so when that happens, right? Good news pumps the market. We get a little bit of a pump. We get some shorts that get squeezed. We get some liquidations to the upside. And then the algos just start and they kick back in and they manipulate the market. And you can see it's similar things happening day in, day out right now in the crypto market. And, how do I know that the market is kind of sleepy right now? Now you're watching this XRP video, but I last night made a video that I talked about Elon Musk's AI at Grok, right? And we looked at a price prediction for XRP. Well, I hadn't done this in about 6 months. But last year, when I did these videos, the minimum that they would get was like 35,000 views the whole year, right? We did multiple times. One even got close to 200,000 views. Yesterday, we got around 8,000 views. Now, I'm not saying that that's an indication that we're in a bear market, but when the algorithm would show it to maybe 60,000 impressions, 70,000 impressions, now it's maybe getting 20 or 30,000 impressions, meaning that one, people are less interested. Two, the algorithm understands that right now there is things that people like more, and so it sends it out to them. So that's another indicator that we might be very close to the bottom, because the same way I told you guys that if my videos are getting, 200,000, 300,000 views per video, we're probably close to the top. Same thing here. When XRP videos are getting like really low views, it might mean that we are close to a bottom. We'll see. Again, there's a lot of factors that can affect the market and can move the market from here to there. This week, we got a lot of interesting things that are happening. But before that, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes, only, non-financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. So this week, we got CPI, we got job claims, we got PCE. So it's actually not surprising that this weekend is kind of sleepy, because many times in the past we've seen when we are in a pre-CPI week that we have this kind of sleepiness over the weekend, because markets are, investors don't like uncertainty. So when there's uncertainty, what is the CPI print going to be? And even if the CPI print, let's say it's good, it's not factoring in what could potentially happen from oil. And, right now we have a situation where US futures open in less than 24 hours, yet we've not seen any indication of de-escalation in the Middle East amid rapidly surging oil prices. Moreover, it seems that they are entering phase two, or phase three actually, which phase three seems to be hurting infrastructure, oil industry, energy industry in Iran. And as retaliation, Iran could be targeting other places in the region, in Kuwait, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. And so their potential have these shutdowns, right? And it's not easy. Once you shut down a facility, it could take a week, 2 weeks just to get it back, or even a month to get it back to production at full capacity. So this could escalate and we could go over $100 per barrel very, very fast. And of course, that would affect inflation, that would potentially affect the markets, and so on and so on. So we need to take this into consideration. And it will be very interesting to see when we do open up next week, right? We talked about the VIX, right? And it ended up closing on Friday there, jumping up almost to 30. Right, the last time that we were this high was back in November, right, and even higher was in October, around October 15th, somewhere in that range. Remember, because at that time there was the fear on the China situation, right, the 100% tariff, and so it popped up there. And when it really popped up all the way to 60 was the tariff situation. Right. So it will be interesting to see how much fear actually pops into the market if we do see oil, gets to those levels of $100. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out in the next coming days. So we'll see going into next week what could potentially happen here with oil and how that could affect the crypto market. Again, the fact is that inflation might make people fearful, and then that could play out. But what really is right now is that we are in the fear and greed index down to 12, marking 38 straight days in extreme fear. This is now the longest streak and the lowest level since the Terra Luna collapse in May 2022. And you remember what happened after that, right? The market went on a huge rally. Basically 10xing. It was, from 15,000 all the way up to 120. So it's not 10x, but it's almost 700% there in the next 3 years. Now, again, does that mean that in 3 years we'll be at 250,000 for Bitcoin? Could be, right? But I don't know. I'm not a prophet. And we'll see how the markets will play out over the next coming weeks. The Clarity Act, a lot of people in Washington are getting kind of aggravated with this. You have the President's Council of Advisors for Digital Assets, Patrick Witt, saying, can someone please explain to me the logic here? No compromise on clarity means no restrictions on intermediaries offering stablecoin rewards. If you believe the bank's argument about deposit flight, this would be catastrophic. Feels like I'm watching an arsonist threaten to burn down their own home. And you can see Christopher saying compromise on Clarity Act is compromising local lending and economic production. It's simply impossible to roll over in the fight for liquidity that powers the economic of all places we call home. This isn't hard to understand. And you have Coinbase CEO saying, well said, agreeing with James E. Thorne here and others. And Rao Paul said, I can see how despondent everyone is about crypto, and the pure chartists are telling you it's all over, but he disagrees. Global liquidity is the most dominant macro factor in history, with a 90% correlation to Bitcoin and 97% to NDX, which is the NASDAQ, since 2012. It is growing at around 10% a year and not slowing down. GMI financial condition led it by 6 months. They are still easing. The air pocket was US total liquidity, which was correlated by the shutdown. It leads crypto by 3 months and is accelerating from its low 3 months ago. The business cycle is the key driver of earnings and thus risk. It's accelerating. The ESLR is the mechanism by which banks can increase liquidity via credit and absorbing treasury issuance. This liquidity is rising too and will accelerate. Tax refunds land in bank balance sheets and add to propensity of credit creation and thus liquidity. China is accelerating, expanding its balance sheet. More rate cuts are coming in the US and will allow to add to disposable income and thus risk taking. And then Clarity Act will likely get agreed and adds to flows. The wall of banks and asset managers wanting to use this technology is enormous, and this bill sorts that out. Stablecoins are accelerating, and issuance grew 50% last year and accelerating. Volumes are in the trillions of dollars and accelerating. We have the most supported government for crypto ever in the US. And, not a lot of people don't put a lot of emphasis on this. I do, but this is one of the biggest factors at why you would want to invest in the crypto market. Again, you have the most supported government for crypto ever. And yet people are looking at the markets and saying, oh, well, it's a bear market and prices are down significantly. No one cares about crypto anymore because the prices are down. And on the flip side, you have the most pro-crypto president, the most crypto administration ever. So many times price action doesn't make sense, and many times it does, right? The crypto market is still in fear and by most measures the most oversold in history. Weekly DMARC indicators would give a very solid base in 2 weeks. You can now get them officially on TradingView. Daily DMARCs are stacked up too. Any weakness from here will complete the dailies and the weeklies, indicating full trend reversal potential. The risk factor is how long oil price stays up. We just talked about that. The next 2 weeks are key focus, and he thinks that it will resolve positively and potentially higher. This is from Raoul Paul. Now, we are in a situation, again, like I said, that there's a lot of money that is sitting on the sidelines. U.S. money market fund assets are up to a record 8.24 trillion, a 58% surge since December 2022. During this period, top 5 managers, Fidelity, JP Morgan, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, and BlackRock drove 69% of total asset growth, with combined assets now at 4.67 trillion. Their collective market share has risen 14 percentage points to 58% since 2011. Overall, total market fund assets have grown plus 5 trillion since 2018. Demand for safe haven investments remains historically high. And you can see the money market funds swelled to 8.6 trillion, right? So this is a potential of all this money, right, coming back into the market. Now, the question is, where does it go? Does it go back into precious metals? Does it go back into crypto? Does it go back into stocks? Where does it go, right? And so this is very interesting. You can see here, observers debate whether this sideline cash will flow into stocks, crypto, or stay put, depending on Federal Reserve rate decisions and inflation data. Now, all this money could potentially come in, but it could also stay on the sidelines for a more prolonged period of time because of the uncertainty of what is potentially going to come. If these money managers think that there's going to be continued turmoil in the world until the next 2-3 years, then they might sit on the sidelines. If they think that everything's going to be okay in 6 months, so then they'll start investing now. Many times what happens, and it was very funny because if you go back in history, you could go back to 2008, you can go back to 2020, right? The markets started recovering a lot right? So that's the bad grammar, but they started recovering recovery. What do I mean by this? In the financial crisis of 2008, you already saw the markets, the S&P 500, everything was already coming back when the economy was still in the tanker, right? Was still in the bottom, but analysts and their researchers were already predicting that there would be a recovery in about a year. So what they started doing is they started buying the bottom, and that started pushing up the market, and the market started rallying, even though the situation wasn't that great. Same thing happened in 2020. We were at the bottom and we had a very, very fast recovery because first of all, the market overreacted, right? Because it was an unknown. But then what happened is all of the big money, and some people say, oh, it's because of the money pushed in by the Fed, and it was because the money that was pushed in by the stimulus checks, and all of that is correct. But that didn't trigger the rally. The rally happened because people were looking at the situation and they said, okay, it's not that bad. We're probably going to have a vaccine in X amount of time. And so all that factored in, and the markets rallied off of that. So that was, they were predicting that was going to happen. And so potentially here, if the markets predict that it's going to be good in 6 months, we could see a pre-rally. Right now, we're at the bottom of the bottom. And again, it could continue to drop. But when looking at the markets right now, especially the crypto market, the stock market is very, very high. And so theory is, right, and maybe this happens, maybe it doesn't, the stock market pulls back a little bit and then the crypto market is able to rally. Something that also could happen is that the stock market starts pulling back and then money starts fleeting from the stock market into crypto, and then maybe crypto catches up to the stock market, and then we get kind of an equilibrium right there where the stock market is overvalued, crypto is undervalued, and then it kind of balances up a little bit. Remember, because crypto is really detached from the M2, and the M2 continue to go, the global money M2 there, and usually Bitcoin had mimicked it, but there was a detached basically since October 10th there. So it will be very interesting to see how the next 6 months play out. In 6 months, what is that? Now it's March, so about September. So after the summer, I'm gonna be, tired from summer vacation with the kids. It's regular people. You have summer vacation here. We have this war, that war. Summer vacation is like it's just another thing on the calendar. But funny, funny but sad. Don't forget to comment in the comment section, smash the like button, check out the links in the description down below. Join our free and open Telegram group where I update there sometimes as well. It's another avenue for me to contact you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.